I also want to touch on before we wrap up, this podcast does a lot of times focus on career journeys. So, Karen, I think it was a LinkedIn post I saw from you where you mentioned the path from primary care to coaching wasn't one you expected, but a reminder, and I love this, that there's no single definition of success in medicine, and you have kind of redefined that success for yourself. Can you just sort of talk about coaching, how you got it, how you built your business, and how that's been sort of a nice like transition for you instead of like, okay, physician wasn't for me, but here I am coaching those that I was once in their shoes.
Um, yes, the thing that you just reminded me of first is that success doesn't happen without failure. And I think that's
Mm.
also something we really forget. It's like I failed a ton. I mean, so people say to me, "Oh, you left medicine and you built this successful career." It's like this was survival for me. So I think for people, and when you are an overachiever and someone who excels in learning, failure is like what you think you need to avoid at all costs. And I just want to encourage everyone. That C in organic chemistry taught me so many important life lessons. And all the other times I didn't get things right. Like, we have to live bigger. We have to be more comfortable and normalize failure, especially even in medicine too. Like, mistakes are going to happen. Let's learn from them, and let's not reject people and like ostracize them. Um, so I think failure is really important. I think it's important to differentiate between success and happiness, because you can be very successful and really unhappy. And so I was just coaching someone yesterday on the balance between her work ethic. She was very focused on having a high work ethic. And I was like, but what about your life ethic? Like, we have to have both of those, or else we are not healthy and we don't thrive. For me, I would say I I do. There's a book called Quitters by Annie something. I can't remember. She, like, I think is, anyway, talks about how the people who climb Mount Everest, we hear about the ones who experienced tragedy because they kept going when the weather got awful. But we don't hear about the people who turned around and came down and who are still alive and who are still. So sometimes I think it's okay to ask yourself, is this really what I want to do forever? There's this sense, at least where I trained, where you would go to grand rounds and you'd see these little like 90-year-old physicians who've been doing it for their whole life. And we think that is success. That's what I need to aspire towards. And I think in this day and age, you can pivot. You can do other different things. You can look around for other possibilities. There's not only one right way to live your career path. And I think in my practice too, when I was going through burnout, I looked at my peers who were much older than me and I just thought, why can they do this and I can't? And when I really asked them, at least the women, the men, I don't know if it was the same, but the women were like, no, I took time off. I did this, I did that. And then I got divorced and I was a single mom and I had to do part-time. It's like at different points in your life, you can do different things. You don't have to try to do it all at once. But I think sometimes listening to that voice inside of you, if it's like, so many people stay in medicine and they don't really want to be there anymore because they think that's where the learned helplessness comes in. Like, I can't do anything else, and this I have to, and I have loans and blah, 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 which is important and significant. But I just love the mindset piece of thinking, I am smart, I am capable, I have this incredible training, and I can go find a place where I'm happier and more fulfilled and where it's valued more if I'm in a place where that's not the case. And I think when you're a student, it's the same thing. It's like, you don't have to keep going just because your parents told you you had to, right? At some point, you have to choose you over everyone else, or, and a lot of times it's this perceived rejection we're going to experience if we do something different. And in reality, it's not always the case. But so I just think, yes, being open, talking to lots of people, realizing there's not only one right way to do this. Your life isn't over if you thought you were going to do one thing and now you're going to switch. I also read at one point there was a woman who like started ice skating in her late 40s and was like in the Olympic ice skating for like 70-year-olds. Like, I love that idea that you can always, tomorrow, you could decide, Jeff, you want to become a linguistics professor. Like, go for it in Antarctica or something. Like, you only have one life. So I
Yes.
think you should try to really make it the best life for you that you can, and that doesn't always mean following this straight and narrow path that someone else created.